I was reflecting upon the petitions. I was reflecting upon our assembly here. I was reflecting upon what's happening in the world today. This hour, this minute, this very instant, there are powers beyond our grasp except through prayer who are willing, ready, prepared, and enraged to rain bombs upon Syria, and then from Syria, a conflagration upon Lebanon and other areas that we're so familiar with, where our Christian brothers and sisters are also trying to survive. And so we are gathered here in peace. We are gathered here in harmony. We are gathered here with love. We are gathered here with the Holy Spirit. And we have to think about what's going on beyond the border of Israel. And hopefully what is suspected may not occur. I also thought, I said, how is it that in the entire world of 6 billion people, this small assembly, and it's large for us, but it's a small assembly compared to the rest of the world, that we were called to be here and to do this at this time? Don't you think God spoke to you? Yes. Don't you think God opened doors for you? Yes. Don't you think God, with a machete, was cutting down all the barriers before you to be here today? Yes, I think so. And I think we have to reflect that we're not special. We're just His servants. We've been called out of the servitude to do this job today, to pray for unity, to pray for peace, and hopefully bring a reconciliation of Christians throughout the world. Why this is happening while we're here? I think it's to stir our imagination, remove the fantasy, and to begin to see the reality of what life is all about. We're here today and gone tomorrow. We have to become intimate with God. And there's just very simple things to do to become intimate with God. The first thing is to reach up to Him because He's reaching down to us. We feel we have to just stand there and wait. No, no, no. Reach up to Him in prayer as He's reaching down to you. It's a synergy between God and man. Secondly, sometimes to remain in silence, complete silence, to hear Him speak to your heart and your soul. This is very difficult for some people. They're expecting a voice in the ear. If you get that, please let me know right away. It comes here, and you hear the voice. Many of you know that we experienced in New York City a terrible, catastrophic, cataclysmic tsunami last year, October 29th. And it really devastated that whole eastern coast of the United States. And my home is right on the ocean. I'm one block from the sea. And I fell into the disbelief of the newscasters that anything serious was going to happen. So I remained in my home with a good friend of mine from Armenia. And I said, let's ride this out. Let's see what's going to happen. Because they always say catastrophe and it never happens. And sure enough, that night around 7:30, the wind was blowing and the house was beginning to shake, and I became very frightened. They had evacuated most of the people from this area of New York City, but I remained behind and wanted to see what would happen. And I recall around 7:30, I said to my friend, let's go to the front of the house to see what's happening, because there were large trees, and I was afraid that a tree may fall upon the house. And sure enough, we went out, we would see the trees swaying, and then suddenly they would stop swaying, and there was dead calm. Dead calm. Not a leaf was shaking, not a bird was chirping, but a death silence. I said to him, I'm going to go to the kitchen to make some salad. What else do Greeks do but make a koriatiki salata, a Greek salad? When there's a catastrophe, you make a salad. So I went, I suppose, from here to that wall. That's the length of the house, 60 paces or so. And as I reached to go to the faucet to turn on the water, I heard a voice. First time in my life. And the voice was as clear and as loud and as demanding as ever. And the voice said, "Go back and look again." It's exactly how it sounded. Go back and look again. So I turned to my friend. I said, "Did you say something?" He said, "No." And I robotically walked to that door. And I remember him saying to me, "Where are you going?" I said, "To open the door." He said, "We were just there." I said, "I must open it again." He followed. As we opened the door, there was this tsunami coming into New York, right across the bay, right straight for my house as well as others. And I realized then, of course I was hysterical. I do get hysterical. I slammed the door and I said, "We must go to the second floor," as if that would help us. And once I got to the second floor, I realized that that was the voice of God. It had to be. So I've heard his voice. And he saved me from that particular tragedy. Of course, everything was flooded. And we remained there for 2 days before we were allowed to evacuate. But you have to remain silent to hear the voice of God. I did, and I particularly believe he saved me that day for another reason. And I pray that it's maybe for this reason to be here today. So I thank the Lord. Thank you very much.